How you sleeping on me when I have insomnia? When I sleep, that shit deep. Couldn't wake me with a Tommy gun. I was never fond of you.
So cold.
How does Drake do it? How does he still live in Toronto?
Don't make me go back outside. Don't make me go back outside.
Can't feel my fingers. We're running out of food, man.
Josh is starting to look pretty tasty.
Man. There's still some skin on those bones.
Barely. I lost 20 pounds shivering.
I think if we podcast,
we can get through this blizzard.
I think so. The warmth of friendship and love in the air will guide us through.
And the sexual music of Drake and Party Next Door may just keep the lights on.
I'm already heating up out here.
The Great Storm.
Where were you? Hit the lights, buddy.
All right. Oh, what is that? The generator that just...
Oh, dude.
From the Great White North.
True north, strong and free.
The sovereign nation of Canada.
But if you guys don't know, we are a Canadian-owned podcast and run podcast, so you're okay to listen to us if you're Canadian.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. If you're not Canadian, you're still okay to listen to us. We prefer if you are American, actually, because it looks better for numbers, I think.
Yeah, because Americans are so fat.
Oh, man.
They take up so much room.
Yeah.
They take up so much room on the internet.
Yeah. Oh, this can turn off as well. There we go. Now we're looking back to normal here. Rapcast 75. I'm your humble and gracious and feeling pretty sexy co-host, Andrew, aka Buzzkill. To my right, he almost needs no introduction. So to my left, there's Jay Pasty,
the
PJ
human
Marsh,
fur,
and Josh.
The human mink.
Mink's out today.
2 in the mink, 1 in the stink.
Oh, God.
They used to call me that. But yeah, thanks for your grandma, your mom, or whatever for
I don't know
letting me
where
wear
that
this.
came from. That was deep in the closet. Much like yourself years ago.
Wow.
Rapcast 75.
Probably came out as straight.
Yeah. Should have been 76 probably. But we ran into some trouble.
Rapcast 75, the lost episode. I went full Kanye. We had to... No, just kidding. Just kidding. We do not support the actions of Mr. West, and we'll
get into
have
it.
removed the poster, which is barely visible on the camera anyway, but there was, at one point, a picture of Mr. West.
Yeah. I mean, there's still some stuff behind you there.
Well, they don't need to know about that.
Okay. Well, they can see it if they're watching on YouTube, which you can watch on YouTube if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Music.
Honestly, I still have the Kanye poster that's just the ballerina woman up in the house right now. Nobody is the wiser.
Okay, good, yeah.
You know,
it's funny. A lot of posters up in my room have went down. They've fallen. I haven't put them back up. I want to repaint up there. But Kanye is one of the few that does. It's still standing up there. Like my college dropout poster. I was looking at it earlier today, and I'm like, why is that
Kanye
still the one
forever?
Anyway, no. We will get into Kanye later. We had an episode we shot a few weeks ago. Ran into some audio troubles in terms of it just kind of cut half of our audio because our computer ran out of space.
We were riding so high on this new machine we got.
Yeah.
We flew too close to the sun, and the camera
thought we were invincible.
was fucked up as well.
Camera was blurry for this latter half because I had to go walk a dog halfway through. It was just kind of a fucking mess, honestly.
Yeah.
All we really did was talk about the Grammys, which we were not going to talk about today because it's...
Trump tried to shut down our podcast as well.
That was another big part of it, but I don't know if we can actually legally say that, so let's just maybe cut that as well. We also talked about the J. Cole and SZA deluxes that dropped at the tail end of last year.
Basically, to summarize, the SZA one was really great.
Yeah.
J. Cole, some of the songs were a bit dated, obviously, because they were from like 10 years ago, but Still some pretty decent gems in there if you're
Cool to
interested.
hear him with that kind of storytelling mindset that he used to have back in the day. And the SZA one it's almost another album, but it does make sense as a deluxe for SOS. So we'll leave it at that. And we also debuted a new game, which we had a lot of fun of. A lot of fun with, I should say. Last episode that we had to cut. So we're going to be doing it again today later on. So stay tuned for that. Go to the timestamps.
That was a beta test of the game. It works. Kind of.
No, it's good. It was good fun. And if you're new to the show, this show is just good fun with friends talking about hip hop, drinking some suds with some buds, and
just get snowed in with us. If you're
really.
in the northern.
You never know what's going to happen with a few guys alone, snowed in the wintertime.
Yeah, it could be like that movie.
Listening to Drake and Party Next Door.
True.
That we will get into as well. I want to start off with Next to Me. New Fanny PaK song. Music video is out on our channel as well.
Just in time for Valentine's.
I did drop the music video on Valentine's Day. It's coming on streaming Thursday the 20th. By this point, it's already out, I'm assuming. So go run that shit up. Short little track, me, Rad Lusso, and the only rigatoni feature on the entire album.
FKA 2 Logs.
Yeah. He's a mainstay on
real heads.
He's a mainstay on the meme tapes, but on the more recent, more serious stuff, he elected to take a step back. So,
and let me just say this, as someone who's not in Fanny PaK, but very much affiliated through our various our mosaic of gangs and artistic epochs. One of the best choruses Fanny PaK's ever put together. So simple.
Yeah.
So earwormy.
Yeah.
Next to me. Next. And I noticed the backing vocals. There was a little bit of harmonization going on.
Yes.
Okay. So still, still kind of rough around the edges style wise, if you like the ironic comedy of it all, I think you'll like this track. And so I would recommend it to anyone in a relationship, outside of a relationship.
Just in general,
never talk to a girl.
Especially that, that's our main
Never
audience.
talk to a girl core.
Yeah, that's main audience stuff.
Any other notes on the song? Like, when did you guys make that song?
Last summer, 2024, we were off a bunch of drinks. We wanted to do a one shot in this park we always used to drink at, and it was a great time. It's not the most elaborate music video in the world, but it's still a good time. Check it out. Subscribe as well if you're on our YouTube page right now. Stay tuned for more of that stuff. It's coming soon. All that stuff.
And I noticed there was a bit of man-on-man, hand-on-ass action going on.
There is.
Can you explain?
Have you ever seen the movie Human Centipede? Yeah, straight influence there. No, I think that must have been Anthony's idea. Because the original bar on that song was, at the end of Rad Lusso's verse, was Anthony creeping on my ass like he gonna. And then that's why we decided that Anthony's gonna creep on his ass at the end of the video. But then Rad Lusso changed it because he didn't want to use Anthony's real name, even though I'm using it now. So he changed it to a couple guys creeping on my ass like they gonna. So,
Right.
yeah, we're just taking some liberties there from the song itself. But good time, fun time. Much like everything that we do is good and fun. So. Where do we want to go from here? Do we want to get right into the Super Bowl, perhaps?
The Superb Bowl,
as it was.
Where were you when he said it?
I was on another planet, bro. No, I was right over there.
I was on methstreams.com.
Yeah, you had to. Yeah, you were panicking last minute, being like, "Guys, where can I watch this game?" And I'm like, "Get a TV, brother."
I was in there with the idiots on the first page of Google. The research results for watch Super Bowl free online right now.
There you go. No, I've heard of meth streams.
Just clicking on the dumbest fucking... Man, Google used to be so awesome when I was a kid.
They just shove AI at you right away.
But yeah, we watched the game. It was boring as fuck.
I liked the game. I thought it was great just because KC was supposed to win and they just got completely fucking trampled. It was great.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to get a little bit into football end of last year, so
it seemed like everyone was going for the Eagles.
Yeah.
And KC was kind of the Trump-coded team.
Yeah. Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift. No one really wanted them to get the three-peat, so glad that Philly could get it.
And we all saw Drake get dissed on national television once more.
Yeah, to an audience of 133 million or something. It's like the most watched halftime show ever, so they say.
Our review of the halftime show, being that we're both gigantic Kendrick Lamar stans, should be no surprise to anyone. It was awesome. It was everything I wanted. Like, he didn't need to go up there and like do some Luigi Mangione shit or anything.
Yeah. I was kind of wanting to do something like that, but he did subtly in his own way, and he like definitely made his point.
Yeah, like there were political points being made, but it wasn't too like, you know, this is entertainment. Like,
Yeah.
and I think a part of his whole message is turn the TV off. Like,
Yeah.
if you really want the revolution, go and do it yourself. Don't,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not your savior type shit. So I think that he made his own message.
Yeah. And you said earlier the revolution won't be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy, which is saying something in itself. He mentioned 40 Acres and a Mule as well. The American flag pattern he was doing. Like there's definitely some stuff to dive into. Some people were making some stretches. I think they were counting the amount of stars that were on Samuel L. Jackson's suit, Uncle Sam's suit, being like, there's 16 of them. He lost 16 friends. He's mentioned that in whacked out murals or whatever. I'm like,
oh,
I don't know if it's that deep, really.
I saw a whole conspiracy where they were like, the way they had the things on the field, there were like X's, and the whole thing was about how Drake killed XXXTentacion.
Oh my God. That's crazy. No, it wasn't it like a PlayStation controller or something? You know, that was a whole like game over thing. He has to learn to play the game,
right.
You know?
Yeah, it was funny seeing the responses because like people would be in the comments being like, "Oh my God, how did you not get the message of that?" And then nobody would ever explain it. It's just people going, "Oh, I can't believe you guys don't even."
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, I don't think it's like that that deep. He played some of the classics from Damn. Era, Humble, and DNA.
People were complaining that he wasn't playing shit off Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, any of that stuff. But to be fair, when he did the Super Bowl with Dr. Dre and them a few years ago, he did a lot of those songs then. So it's like,
right. What did he do? Like "Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe" or something?
I think something like that. I think he also did like Mad City, a part of it. It's all medleys, right? That's the whole thing. Because on the Dr. Dre one, everyone got like 3 songs, kind of thing.
Right.
So he might have done Humble as well, because that's one of his biggest songs. Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head, but he also mentioned in a interview for the Super Bowl, talking about how he wants to like keep it current and be present and talk about the stuff that he's doing now and focus on that, right?
Yeah.
Rather than always going back in the past. And obviously he has hits he could have done them, but I am glad that he decided to focus on some of the new music because we both love GNX. And he started off with an unreleased song, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Interesting moment. I feel like that's always like whenever I've seen like any artist live that does a new song I had never heard or like no one ever knows the first song in the set list, it kind of like kills the vibe or kind of like sets it off in a weird pace. But Kendrick picked it up right away with some of his other hits. So
yeah, I was surprised to see like some unreleased shit right at the beginning. But you know, it kind of worked.
Catch people off guard right away.
Yeah, he hit us with these bootcut jeans.
Yeah, people were flaming him for wearing size 29 women's jeans at the show. I didn't know they look fly. I didn't notice anything. I don't really notice that thing in general. But
you know like there's that whole history of bootcut jeans and stuff.
Not really.
Oh, I'll have to send that to you. Okay, I can send that to you later. It's this whole history of like bootcut jeans in the '60s of like Revolution, and like back then it was like bootcut jeans were like bootcut pants were like a war thing, but hippies in the '60s started wearing that as like a act of like rebellion, and then and then there's some other stuff I can't really remember. I'll have to send you the reel on Instagram about it.
I mean, yeah, if people were gonna overanalyze like the "This Is America" video,
right?
You know, I think it's fair to do that same thing with this Kendrick performance to a degree.
Yeah, and but
don't get too crazy with it.
For sure. But he is a very intentional artist, and he does things with intentions. I mean, we were talking about before this show. We were rewatching it, and you guys were talking about the A minor chain that he had on. But that was actually, I was saying that like that was actually, I think, the logo for PG Lang, like with the kids pointing up at it, which is like very funny now because of everything that's happened. I think it's coincidental that happens to be the PG Lang thing, but it's also intentional that he made sure to bring that out and do that and have that like facing the camera at all times kind of thing. Like I think that is.
I was thinking it was a thing for Apple as well, like the whole thing being promoted by Apple Music. But
that would come off a little strange to me in terms of just like him rocking an Apple Music chain. Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, knowing that that's the PG Lang logo is kind of cool.
Yeah, he brought up SZA as well. There was some discourse there in terms of if she is or isn't lip syncing during it. I think Darren cut that. I think Rad Lusso said during the show he was like, she's lip syncing the shit out of this thing. And I'm like, really? I don't know. Upon rewatch, I'm like, maybe for Luther, I could see it. But I think All the Stars, I think that was a live mic. But I can't really tell. It's a really good job if she is. But I don't doubt that she can sing. Like she can obviously fucking sing. She's great. Right?
I definitely noticed like when she started singing, I was like, they actually plugged her microphone in properly because I couldn't really hear Kendrick that well for parts of it. But part of it is his style of rapping.
Yeah, well, during the show as well is different from watching the YouTube version because that is like a better mixed version than the live. Because during live, there was a lot of, especially old white folk being like, I don't know what he's saying. I don't understand a word this guy's saying.
Yeah. That's what my girlfriend's mom basically said that. Yeah. But she was like, the only thing I heard him say was Drake. He said something about Drake. Like she doesn't even know anything about the beef, and had to explain the whole thing to him.
That's all she needs to know. That's all she needs to hear, really. That's all what a lot of people heard as well. But it was more than that.
It's funny picturing all the people like at Super Bowl parties, like turning to the uneducated old white men and being like, okay, so basically he said to him this, and like they're just going through the whole story.
Yeah, it's great.
But I feel like this comes at a moment where like this is the last time we can truly do Not Like Us on a big stage without it. Like the moment has passed at this point.
He'll do it on tour though. He still has to go on tour with SZA.
I just mean like as a cultural phenomenon. Like
yes.
It's been a year. Like he got the Grammys. He did that. Like that was the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, staring right at the camera, saying "Say Drake," you know, and it was funny. There was video footage of Drake and his crew at like a bar in Australia, and they were all sit down, just seriously watching the show, like during that moment too. Like that's so crazy to have that moment.
And meanwhile, you have Drake on stage in Australia, going up, holes in his shirt, smoke billowing out.
He's feeling it, yeah.
Sort of John Wick-esque visuals of him on stage. He's changing lyrics to be like that mentioned LeBron James to be hurtful.
They're trying to take me down. I can never die type shit.
I think he threw a DeRozan jersey off the stage or something.
That's funny.
Because he's mad at all these athletes. Really spiraling out of control. Is he still in Australia, or did he come back for the album release?
I don't know. I think he might still be there. I don't know though.
Josh, can you pull up where Drake is right now?
Yeah, Drake. Yeah, with the Santa Claus tracker.
He's flying over the Maldives at the moment.
Yeah.
He's flying over the Rapcast studio.
Yeah.
Flying over Vietnam at the moment.
Oh God! If he's flying over Japan or Philippines, it's gonna be a fucking problem. Based on the age of consent. Yeah, no, we'll get into Drake in a moment, but
other things from the Super Bowl performance, Serena Williams,
that was crazy.
Cameo was cool.
And then she happens because they had Drake and Serena had a whole thing, and then Drake had been subtly dissing her for years, and so it's the fact that she's up there like dancing on the grave almost, or crip walking on the grave.
Yeah, and I saw something also that she once got in trouble for crip walking at like Wimbledon.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a payback for that.
But there's also like apparently her fucking sister was killed by a crip as well.
Really?
And everyone's like, why is she crip walking? I'm like, man, she hates Drake that much. She hates Drake more than she loves her sister.
Put it aside.
Maybe. No, we're joking around, but it's crazy.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised to see them do All the Stars, but that was a moment. I mean, the brings us back to
It's a hit.
the Black Panther days.
Yeah. I love that he did Fake Out, Not Like Us as well, like twice. I thought that was really, because when he first faked it out and he mentioned something about like, I want to play their favorite song, but you know they love to sue. I'm like, oh shit, let's go. Like, that's crazy,
Yeah.
right? And then he doesn't do it, and I'm like, no way, he's not gonna do it. Like, is this, if Kendrick doesn't do Not Like Us, is that an L for Kendrick? Did Drake successfully
Scare him.
yeah, or did the label or the lawyers or whatever tell him not to do it, kind of thing? But I'm glad he faked this out, he did it, and it was great.
Yeah, I mean, fuck the lawyers.
Yeah, come on now.
Like, it was a smart move by him.
Yeah.
Because then it became like a sound on TikTok that like going around and yeah, and like turn the TV off was like a perfect outro song for the whole thing.
Yeah.
The
It's like,
horns,
turn it off. You don't have to watch the rest of the game. It's, it was a blowout. Doesn't matter.
but the horns kind of sound like the sports kind of they sound kind of
Yeah.
Sports Center.
Brought out Mustard. He was holding a football. His corny ass. I'm like, all right. I don't know. Good for him, I guess.
Mustard has a weird case.
Yeah. Why is he around?
I actually don't know if he
No,
does.
Metro has a weird case, I think. Metro Boomin, that is.
The
Metro,
whole
Metro-
rap
Metro-
game
Metro
is one big
grooming.
weird
I know,
case.
yeah, exactly.
But I actually did hear that the Jay-Z things, the allegations
Got
about
dropped.
him
Yeah.
might have been just complete BS.
And we did talk about last episode, the lost episode, that is about TDE having some allegations, some woman coming out saying some of the managers, did some stuff. I haven't heard much of it since. It could have been a smear campaign for the Super Bowl. There were rumors that some of the girls were tied to OVO or Drake's father, things like that. But they also TDE could be shutting down the story to avoid the bad press. I don't know. Either way, if it's true, get the guys out of here that did it. If it's fake, then we'll keep on moving.
What else do you have anything else?
I made a lot of food. I hosted, so I made a bunch of
Okay,
stuff.
let's hear. Spinach dip.
I started with some pre-made appetizers of a veggie tray and a cheese tray kind of thing, but then I brought out some samosas.
Wow.
I brought out
Multicultural.
some of these like my mom called them like burrito bites. She to be fair, she made them only because I was at work the day before, and that's the one thing we could pre-make kind of thing. Everything else had to be made on the day. Those are pretty good. We also did. And for the main course, we did wings, nachos. I had to do some vegan stuff for Tony as well, so I had to do a whole separate thing. I was in and out of the kitchen all day.
Vegan Tony.
Yeah, and but we still managed to film a music video that day as well. I'm excited to show you guys what we did for the.
Is Josh still looking for Drake's plane right now?
We can't find Drake, okay, guys? He's
on
AWOL.
He's on Antarctica right now.
Well, you can get away with anything out there.
Dark web at the moment.
Oh boy. Josh got a weird case. Why is he around? I'm joking.
Yeah, I think we had leftover spinach dip from Galentine. Like my girlfriend had a Galentine's
Nice.
thing,
Yeah.
and they
Remember
did.
did they dress you up in like a maid outfit and like kind of prance you around all day?
Yes. I had my bottom spanked many,
I saw
many a
those- I saw
time.
those pictures. That was great.
No, they did like it's like Guess Who Said It, and it's all based on like social media posts from like when they were teenagers and stuff like that.
in the friend group. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. So, and we did that in our friend group as well.
Nice.
So
What were some of your highlights, if you can remember?
I had one where I was like, I don't give a damn about your iPhone.
Nice.
This was back when I didn't have a phone, so I was just making these posts on the home
In
computer
the
at home.
library. Man was in the library.
Yeah. Now the person who organized the game was actually quite generous by not including some of the more ridiculous and
Yeah.
frankly mean things I've said online over the
And
years.
don't try to unearth these things if you have Drake. Our enemies out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, let's just introduce ourselves. Real
I
quick.
thought we did. All right. I mean,
Oh yeah, we did.
you were the mink. One in the mink, two in the stink, or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Fucking-
true. But
Crass
make sure to
stuff.
keep it locked on YouTube.com.
Yeah. We did all this. What are you talking about? We already did this.
Okay.
You're losing the plot.
Okay, let's break into
Breaking the groups here.
an hour long The Brutalist review.
Okay. Haven't seen it.
Something I forgot to report on our last episode was that I did in fact message Mr. Kanye West on Twitter. I asked him if he saw The Brutalist yet, starring Adrian Brody. Fortunately, I have not got a response from him yet.
Okay.
But I think it could really help him.
That could change the tide for the for his
it's
career at this point.
I mean, when he saw Jonah Hill's movie, right?
Yeah.
That kind of got his opinion changed
Exactly, yeah.
on the old Jewish problem.
Yeah.
No, the Jewish question. No, just kidding.
So if everyone sends the Rapcast this episode to him, that could change his whole opinion on all
But
this
it's
stuff as
also
well.
about architecture and shit. Like it is kind of geared towards Ye's mangled brain.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it.
I wanted to recap a couple things.
Sure. I will say quickly, we did... Another reason why we scrapped the episode is we did talk about when he first came back on Twitter and he was saying stuff like people that read are stupid or stuff like that. You know, kind of just stupid stuff, but like, okay, kind of simple, whatever. He's not going too crazy. And then literally like 2 days later, it was... he let it all out there. So...
Yeah. The
everyone
first
knows-
point,
everyone
let's get this over with.
Go ahead.
Is that, you know, if anyone comes up to you and says, "I love Hitler, I'm a Nazi," just punch him and move on. Like we don't need to give this guy the benefit of the doubt really
Right.
anymore when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
At the same time, like it is hilarious that like anybody would want to work for him. Like whenever employees come out against his abusive thing, it's like, you know, he's Kanye West and you still took the job, like, and you're Jewish, like, don't you know he's racist? He's gonna like say something
You're gonna
horrible.
get mistreated. Yeah.
But it's also kind of funny to like go back how they're going back into the history, and like there's so many opportunities where Kanye was like, after he finished My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, he was like, and let's call it I Love Hitler. Like there's so many moments in his career where he was just about to press the button.
Yeah.
But luckily, like they avoided disaster. But now,
Until
we're deep into him being absolutely insane and awful.
Yeah. And there were people, even in my camp, being like, "It's a social experiment. It's clearly a joke. Why do you take anything he says seriously?" I'm like, well, it's there's a limit though to all that stuff. Like, and he did say on Twitter, like at one point he did say this was a social experiment. The next day he was like, "Everything I said, I believe in," type of shit. So it's like, you don't really know quite what to believe, but you're right. We can't give him the benefit of the doubt at this point, based on all of the other evidence that we have in the past, you know, almost 10 years, maybe not 10 years, but 7 years from his antics. I think if he's joking or if he's not, he needs help either way. And at the same time, I don't want anything bad to happen to him or the people around him. But I don't know. It's a bit scary.
Yeah, he should definitely have his phone probably taken away from him. It's doing damage to his family and
now,
other people around him.
Bianca and him are rumoredly getting divorced. So if this was his pre-crash out, how far deeper can he go from this? Or is that somehow going to save him? I don't know.
It was funny how this time around, though, he's already crashed out so many times. Like, people don't even have the patience or the time for it anymore.
Yeah.
People care less and less, which is kind of the direction we all knew this was going in eventually.
Yeah. Because he did post a song that he says is going to be on Bully on his website. Excuse me. At some point.
Yeah. All right, Nikki, get out of
no,
here.
I heard nothing of it. Nikki, what do you think about Kanye? You can't say that on the podcast, Nikki. That's terrible. You're worse than Kanye.
For All the Dogs was the best album of this. No fucking way.
For All the Dogs is actually going to be called I'm Jewish and I Love It. But it didn't fly, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, we got to rename every Kanye album now.
I just wanted to go through a couple of the random things that he said and did, because it was a tweet storm that lasted a couple days, and there was even at one point he was like, "I just got out of the shower and I came up with 5 more sick tweets."
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yikes.
The full Gooner mode was a sight to behold. Did you see his actually posting?
Yeah, just straight up pornography. Yeah,
clips.
my bad.
And that's kind of like where all this Nazi stuff is gonna eventually lead. Is just like pornography and just like no morals and no, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he's been obsessed with porn forever. We've known that.
It was playing in the background of when he was writing Runaway.
That's
When
so,
he
and that's
was
so
writing,
crazy. Yeah,
like some of the best songs.
yeah.
There was even like a weird one that involved like milk. He might have some kind of milk type fetish, which that's a whole thing.
Man, I might have a milk fetish too. I love milk, lactose free, 2%. Man,
Oh,
gets
boy.
my bones fucking feeling good. You know.
That calcium.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, the free puff stuff. Like I don't even.
But just that was the start. That was the first. I remember I made a TikTok. Go follow us at SuperFinger Inc. That night where I did a video of me taking down this poster, and it was a screen cap of the free puff tweet. And then literally when I woke up the next day, it was like, I'm a Nazi. And then for Instagram, I had to go back into the edit and put in that one as
yeah,
well.
I noticed that.
And then throw it on, and I'm like, oh shit. So after that, that was the floodgates opening right there.
But then it's just like every contrarian opinion he brought out, including like everyone was getting it. Fat people.
I know, yeah, it's ridiculous.
But the whole thing was like full of self-loathing because at the end he's like, by the way, I also hate when I look fat. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, man, like you clearly are just dissatisfied with who you are as a person, calling people broke, dropping the R word, the F word, like
everything. And that's the Kanye has been a contradicting guy for almost his whole career. And in the group chat, our friend of the show Digo was me and him were getting into a tiff about this. And I was like, and he kind of made that point, and I'm like, yeah, but this is not the same as him saying George Bush doesn't care about black people. Like, this is not at all parallel to what's going on here.
yeah, like that was when he had more of a foot in the conscious hip hop world.
Yeah, which he then later claimed was all facade. He never actually cared, but I don't. He was so good at it, I don't believe that.
It's hard to buy that,
yeah,
though.
Exactly.
Yeah, I went off in a lot of strange directions. At one point, he was going on a mission to save Kodak Black's life.
That was crazy because I saw that video of Kodak in the street, and I'm like, "There's no way that's Kodak. I don't think that's Kodak Black. It doesn't look like him to me."
That's another rap conspiracy that's been going on, for like the Kodak clones going around, like how many times he's been to prison.
I know he's like lost weight and gained weight and stuff like that, but I just don't think that looks like him straight up. And there was another video that came out of like, have you seen those videos of like a guy comes out with his host and there's like 20 girls and they pop the balloon or whatever based on like that, or like vice versa. He was on that and he was literally like acting like a goblin, just running around and climbing on the walls and shit. He was going insane, and I'm like, I don't think this is Kodak, man. I really don't. I don't know. Maybe I'm ignorant, but
yeah, I honestly have no idea what that was about. We never got any follow up.
No.
He was like, I'm taking a plane to Miami right now.
yeah. And I don't think he did.
Uh,
I think he's still in Istanbul or something. I don't know where
he had
Kanye
a bit
is.
of a.
Josh, can you look up where Kanye is as well on the tracker? All right.
He broke up with Travis Scott because Travis Scott unfollowed him at one point.
Tyler as well. Then he called him the F word, I think, or something like that. Like it was,
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Honestly, but the Nazi stuff, terrible. My least favorite part was when he was complaining about getting shadow banned or not getting the engagement that he's supposed to, and doing a Karen style complaint
Right.
to Elon Musk. Like
Right.
that's the most pathetic.
And then Elon unfollowed him, and he
behavior.
was butthurt about that as well.
Yeah, like real friends. How many of them?
I know. And then a lot of people were more mad about him dissing Virgil Abloh than saying all this Nazi puff stuff. Like, I mean, that is hard to hear because they were like really good friends, or supposed to be, or at least like the media portrayed them as such. But
I don't think they were
don't know.
even like on good speaking terms when he died.
towards
though.
the end, yeah, I don't
So
think so either. Yeah,
It doesn't like shock me that much that he said that.
yeah,
Still shitty thing, obviously.
for sure.
But among many shitty things, yeah, it really just went off the rails. At one point, he was just like shouting out Louis C.K., his favorite comedian.
I mean,
doing a long hate post about Dave Chappelle,
Yeah.
which I honestly kind of agreed with half the shit he was saying.
I mean, that's
there.
the thing. I also not a big Dave Chappelle fan, and I do kind of like Louis C.K. I mean, I've always liked Louis C.K. I mean, obviously, since he was part of the Big Me Too movement, I haven't really gone back much.
Well, he wasn't a part of the movement. He was a victim.
That's true. That's
of
true.
The
Yeah,
movement.
yeah. Yeah, he wasn't out there with the picket signs, really. He was inside the hotel rooms.
And he also shouted out Anthony Jeselnik.
Yeah, where did that come from? I haven't heard that name in a minute.
Tried to bring back the term honky for white people.
I'm okay with that. If I get called a honky in the street, I'm like, wow, creative.
And then the whole thing kind of ended where all of his online stores shut down from Shopify, and he just was selling swastika shirts on his
swastika shirts, and during the Super Bowl, he bought an $8 million ad, because that's apparently how much they cost these days, for the commercials, of him in the dentist chair being like, everyone go to Yeezy.com, and at that point, all there was on Yeezy.com was the swastika t-shirts. I'm like, that's insane, bro. $8 million to promo the swastika shirt. And we're allowing everyone that is out there that sees this swastika shirt out there, you're okay to just give them a good old knuckle sandwich. And you can play this in court and it'll back you up. This is a legally binding contract here.
Yes,
so.
you hereby have permission from the area that we have jurisdiction, which is this
The
basement.
Rapcast studio.
And around my neighborhood. I might sock a Nazi. Go listen to Punch Some Nazis by the Checkerboards,
There you
by
go.
the way.
I don't know if he's still on X, I'll be real. I looked up Ye. Because I thought I saw him tweet something today.
Honestly, one of my favorite tweets he had, though, was when he was like, touring sucks. I don't like being on tour. I'd rather be at home playing The Last of Us Part 1 or Part 2, which was made by the Jews, by the way. Thanks, Jews.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy.
Like, deep down, he actually loves Jewish people, you know?
He is just...
He both hates and loves, like, it's both the worst thing in the world
He's
and
just
the
off
best
his
thing.
rocker. What can you say?
Just the demented mind of a racist man.
And he also claimed that... we'll get off Kanye in a sec, but he was like, oh yeah, I'm not bipolar, I'm just autistic. And it's another kind of case of someone...
I've tried that one. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I've seen you at the DMV, and it was not a pretty sight to see.
We don't have the DMV in Canada, okay? It's called Service Ontario.
Service Ontario.
Okay.
Well,
we're doing only Canadian references.
That's
we're
right,
not
sorry.
Americanizing anything today.
yeah. Well, we're going to talk about two Canadian boys right now.
Yes. Yes.
Men, boys, not quite sure.
I'm going to put all my furs back on again just for
Okay.
this bit. All of these hoes.
Me. White boying you, schooling you right now.
All of these hoes. It's the Slaughter Gang CEO.
Are you getting any of that?
Got dick
Can you make sure you
for
don't get
you
that?
if you-
Okay, good. Can you just go ahead? Yeah, there you go. Crank him down a bit. So he has...
Yo, I'm on the DVP. Yo, I'm on the 401. Yo, I'm on the fucking QEW.
Spit your hit song, Mississauga, from the Mean Tape.
I'm on the Skyway Bridge. Yo, I'm on the fucking...
Drake has never seen the Skyway Bridge. He flies from Toronto to Hamilton. Also, what is Drake doing in Hamilton? You know?
He was there?
Josh just said he's over the... He's out. He's there.
Wait, right now?
Yeah.
He's probably at my girlfriend's house.
Let's go. Fuck.
To the Batmobile.
Grab the camera. Let's go. Yeah. That'd be a good bit.
Yeah.
We gotta get the winner of the Drake impersonation contest on the show.
Oh, that'd be sick.
We have to. I think that'd be a great idea.
I mean, he won like $10,000 or something, right? So
Yeah, we'll get him to fork a little cash over, on our
yeah, exactly.
our way.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
sell my
So in
morals
all
for some cash.
seriousness, Drizzy Drake is back with a full album.
He has returned.
Honestly,
Never mind. Let's not talk about it. I know you seem to be a bit maybe not fond of it, but you don't seem to mind it all
look,
that much.
the some sexy songs for you hate is so forced.
Interesting.
Drake, yeah, the album's not that great. Like, he's on a decline a la Kanye West. And, you know, last year, Kanye did Vultures. He brought in pinch hitter R&B singer Ty Dolla $ign to kind of
Yeah.
give him some swag and pad out the songs a little bit. Drake
To
also
carry.
Drake is also in a bit of a public backlash. So let's go back to making R&B sex jams. I'll grab Party Next Door. We'll go back to claiming Canada,
Yeah.
giving some respect to the hometown fans.
Yeah.
And I think he delivered that on this project.
I don't mind that aspect. Obviously, I think it's cool that they posted up in front of the Monroe Towers there in Mississauga. I think that's cool. I like
Yeah.
the cover. But I will say, I mean, just going off what you were saying, like that's a thing, and that's a joke that people have already made. I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like Drake when he act tough. I'm the same kind of way. I like what was that? Found Your Love, For Your Love.
Find Your Love.
Find Your Love. I like that one. Passion Fruit is great. Even the Laugh Now Cry Later, that more like melodic shit. I like that one as well. Like there's some that's kind of my preferred Drake pop kind of style. But when you get an album of 21 songs, him and Party Next Door, which kind of just sound so similar, and the concepts don't really vary all that much, it just ends up to me, even if it's not that bad musically and sonically, it just doesn't, I'm just not interested in it really. It just all becomes kind of the same to me. Just kind of get bored by it. It goes in one ear out the other, aside from maybe 3 or 4 highlights that I will return to on here.
I think that the bulk of this project is nothing to really write home about, but the highlights, I think, give me shades of, if you're reading this, it's too late.
Really? I
And
think that's
a little bit of
way off.
What a Time to Be Alive. Like, in that Party Next Door is almost a Future type subbing in for, because you can't do music with Future anymore, obviously.
I don't see that really either. I think this is easily the weakest Drake collab project, especially if you're considering, I liked Her Loss.
But the thing is, like, wasn't our whole problem with that era of Drake was that he was trying to act so gangster and it was just
That
fake?
wasn't the only problem, though.
At least he's going back to being himself on this album.
It was because the albums were bloated, and Her Loss was like, I think, 14 songs? Obviously, the whole thug stuff, like, it's not my favorite type of Drake, but when you have 21 Savage there, it kind of backs you up almost a little bit, or it's like when you kind of can go into 21 Savage's world there, it's better than Drake trying to make his own space. Like, because he had 21 Savage, that gives him kind of more lenience to kind of lean into that thug stuff a little more because he's doing a tape with 21 Savage. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whereas, I don't know, it just sounds like to me, I mean, Drake has been doing the R&B rap pop stuff for his whole career, but it just sounds like to me Drake is doing almost a Party Next Door impression on most of these songs, and Party Next Door kind of takes a back seat almost in a way.
Yeah. I think similar to Vultures, like, they're not really an equal sides duo.
Yeah.
It's more of a Drake album
Yeah.
with some borrowed swag and some sauce from Party Next Door.
For sure.
I just think it's much more like in touch with the roots of what Drake offers that's different, and that's why I kind of liked it. I thought there was entertaining moments from the first half, then it got a little bit too sleepy, then there was some interesting tracks that are not all good kind of midway through,
Right.
and then the last part was kind of nothing to really
No, and
write home about.
I want to say I don't think it's that bad of a project. It's just it's for the hoes.
I can see this fitting other contexts other than whatever For the Hose means.
Right.
But yeah, there were definitely some just straight R&B Party Next Door type songs that were about looking at a girl's tattoos while having sex with her.
Yeah, that was
Just
strange
random
one.
kind of details like that.
Yeah.
Drake shouting out 21-year-old Tate McRae on one song. Canadian reference.
Yeah.
I'll
He
give
also
him
mentioned Brat Summer as well on the same track a few bars later.
But maybe something a little bit sus there if we're still going with this narrative about Drake.
Another bar like that, just to get it over with, was on the song Glorious, where he was like, your mama kicked you out of the house kind of thing, and everyone's like, why are you talking to girls that are still living in their parents' house? Like, it's a tough economy, you know? Look at me right here.
I mean, look at, come on.
But still, he's a 38-year-old man.
Which is the average age of someone still living with their parents today.
I will also say I've never really been sold on Party Next Door. I just never really gravitated towards his sound. Also on this album, he's doing a lot of Post Malone like warble vocals, which I'm not really a huge fan of. But at the same time, like it's tough because like this is the right move for Drake, based on all this beef, the context of that. Like doing an R&B album, collab album, you have someone else to kind of lean back on as well. Kind of not really. I mean, he has a few bars referencing towards what happened last year as well, but
mainly on the song "Give Me a Hug."
Yeah, and Brian Steele a little bit as well,
which I thought was honestly a pretty good effort. Like last episode, we were talking about what would a Drake song that's going to get the party lit sound like, and I think he basically delivered on that one. I mean, it's not the best thing in the world, but like it's getting back on the track that he needs to be on.
Yes,
to make to continue his career the way he wants to do it.
To me, I'm just not a huge fan of it because it just seems like this is a song he's done before. The same style, the same rhyme schemes. Like it's. I think he used the same like dictionary rhyme scheme on "Oh You Went" by Young Thug.
Oh yeah, Six Scott, he a visionary. I'm like the dictionary.
Yeah. But back to my point. There was almost nothing he could really do to escape the stink of the beef. There was no right, like even this was the proper move to make, but there's still no, like Kendrick made sure to pinpoint each of his faults to make sure that no matter what Drake dropped next, it would be in reference to this. There would be bars referencing it. There would be things that you could, like Drake mentioned a few times on here, like him drinking quite a bit. Right. Pointing back to his alcohol abuse that Kendrick was talking about, and it's called Triple S, which is often a icon seen in casinos, his gambling addiction.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Yeah,
and
some sexy songs for you.
Yeah, so it's like it's definitely the right move that Drake pulled, but I still think like. I still don't really like it all that much.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to like it. I'm just saying
it's not that bad, but it's. I'm not really gonna to back. I'm not gonna spin it.
I got some enjoyment from it, and not to be corny or anything, but given what's happening in the news today, with the reckless man down south and his threats towards our sovereignty, I think it's important to support Canadian artists.
Yeah, I want to support good Canadian artists though, like John River. Someone that they stole from this album, along with Freddie Gibbs.
But I think he did appeal to the Canadian fans a little bit and say, "Look, I got you."
No, and that's the thing. This album is for our buddy Digo, and it's for those kind of fans, and they'll love it. And for them, it's probably pretty good, Yeah. But it's just not a whole album full of this. Now, if this was an EP of like maybe the 6-7 best songs, I'd say this is pretty good. But it runs into the same problem as that Drake has had for 10 years now.
Is that his personality is dog shit.
Yeah, and it's bloated way too long, and he doesn't explore enough conceptually to keep me engaged.
I do get tired of the shtick after a while, and listening to the whole thing.
It just sounds the same. Yeah.
But I will venture to say that he needs to thank Kendrick for inspiring him a little bit to at least give his core fans something to chew on instead of just going for the most profitable thing every time, or just making the most cookie cutter decisions that possible. Yeah, that he was doing during his peak from like 2017 to 2020 or so. Like,
I mean, I'd still say a lot of this album is kind of copy paste, but it is a kind of style that he hasn't fully dived into in a while, so I guess I appreciate it for that. Do we think that similar to Eminem bullying MGK out of rap, do you think Kendrick has bullied Drake out of rap to focus on R&B right now? I mean, Give Me a Hug, Brian Steele, these are some more hip-hop moments in there, but like I had thought about that parallel for a second.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to be toting guns in his songs as much anymore,
at least not right now,
because of the beef.
Yeah,
but that kind of style of music might be going out of style a little bit for people who can't legitimately say that they're in the streets,
right?
yeah, I don't know what his next. I don't know if we're gonna be hearing him acting tough for a while yet. Still
I think he
here.
will. I mean, he's still making not threats, but he still is referencing the beef and talk. And even though like it was
He's
a
got
whole
to still
thing,
have some self-respect
for
as
sure,
a man.
but it was this whole thing of like, oh, Drake's over it. He's not thinking about that shit anymore, and he's a year later still. I mean, obviously Kendrick is profiting off it as well, so you can make that argument. But it's just like
One thing I did
know.
like is
on an album like this, you didn't need "Give Me a Hug." If you wanted to just focus on the R&B shit and not even talk about it, he could have gotten away with it. But he still felt the need to include a song like that to appease certain fans or to kind of just
I'm glad he
try
did
to regain something there. I don't know.
because you got to at least mention something to say, look, I'm back on track now,
Right.
and like I had my tough year where everyone hated me, but now I'm back.
Right.
I think he had to at least do something like that. And one move that I did like from him on "Give Me the Hug" was shifting it over to making fun of Joe Budden, which I think is always
That's a safe
always
bet.
a welcome thing.
Yeah.
Budden is always falling flat on his face
Yeah.
and just talks too much and always rubs people the wrong way.
But it's
and
also
this latest thing with him, he said, Melissa Ford, you're a legend from the Six. What are you doing with a dick sucker? And she's the co-host of the Joe Budden podcast.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that because I don't listen to the show
Yeah.
anymore. But I was looking into that a little bit. Like Melissa Ford was like a video vixen from the classic era where she was in like the Big Pimpin' video and like all these classics from that era.
Gotcha.
So it was kind of cool throwback to another person from the Toronto music
Cool.
media scene,
Yeah.
which is always good to see. Like, and I was going on a whole Cardinal Official deep dive today, like off of looking at
You
those
love
old
Cardinal
videos.
Official. You love him.
There was great Toronto music pre-Drake that just got completely swept under the rug.
But now it all has to kind of go through OVO in order to really pass the bar, unless you're the weekend almost. But I will say, just to your point of the whole Joe Budden thing, it can be seen as another case of him addressing a woman and not addressing the man. Much like kind of, Serena, with something we failed to mention about the Super Bowl thing was Serena Williams was up there, Drake's ex, and he has had many shots towards Serena over the
Yes.
years. And then as soon as this comes out, he's kind of making fun of her husband or something. So it's just like, it just comes off as immature. And also the fact that Joe Budden had beef with Drake and Joe Budden, I mean, it wasn't that successful. I think Joe Budden had like 3 or 4 songs towards him and Drake never responded.
That's
but
how
they were
Joe Budden's podcasting career came up, was from his beefing with Drake.
Yeah. But from what I remember, those songs were pretty decent in terms of some of the stuff that he was saying on there. So it's just like, if Drake is referencing a 10-year-old beef, are we going to be hearing about this from Drake for the whole Kendrick shit for 10 years? I don't know. Probably.
He knows he's not going to throw serious shots at Kendrick again. He doesn't want to get bodied.
Yeah.
So from his perspective, go after some weaker targets like Joe Budden, or I mean, he should start making fun of academics. Honestly, that would be great.
I would welcome that.
But obviously, they have each other's backs.
I guess.
Let's go through a bit of a track by track. If you have anything to say,
Sure.
Honestly, I thought the CN Tower for like the opening song was not that
one.
bad.
Yeah, I didn't mind that one.
And the whole thing about the CN Tower does change colors
Based on what's happening around the city and stuff. But it is kind of
kind of neat.
Kind of a basic rhyme scheme of like, CN Tower, you're my flower. It's turning blue because I love you. This is a Blues Clues type of bullshit. But I didn't, as an opening track, it's kind of sleepy, but it's, I fuck with the Toronto imagery.
There was a bar he said like a tiny house, I'm trying to shed some light.
He's back, ladies and gentlemen. 66666.
It may not mean nothing to y'all, but understand nothing was done for me.
We like some Drake stuff out here, guys. Don't get it twisted. We just don't like him as a person.
I thought Mothballs was a song that felt like a return a little bit, and I know you're scoffing at this idea, but to the, if you're reading this, it's too late, energy. Reminiscing on coming up, he had a bar like, "Oh, I met you at the No Frills."
Yeah.
No Frills. That's a great
reference, I guess.
Canada reference. I don't
Sure.
know if they have that in the States. I don't think they do.
No, but No Frills is owned by Loblaws, so that's a
Oh yeah,
thumbs
true.
down as well.
Loblaws is not like us.
But I mean, he mentioned Palladium on fucking, I think it was Her Loss or something. So he's been doing that kind of stuff. It's just to
Saga.
me, when you reference it to, if you're reading this, like that's probably one of my favorite Drake projects, probably my last like big favorite one. And that album was a lot more rooted in like kind of that early trap style that was going on. Like in terms of sonically, there wasn't much R&B. I mean, Jungle was a great song. That's a great R&B song. But like there wasn't much there sonically.
It was
that
more
was
rap
parallel.
heavy, but I just felt like the energy and referencing
Kinda taking it back to
his
basics
life
a little
when
bit.
he was a Canadian before
Right.
the fame kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Crying in Chanel, not that great. Kind of just one of those materialistic type
Yeah, it's a
songs.
solo track by him, kind of weak.
I'm lonely and rich type beat.
Yeah.
Small Town Fame was okay.
Yeah, it was more rap leaning one. Timmy's Dilemma, they had to have a kind of what the Georgia Smith interlude and the Yebba's Heartbreak. I like that he does put on like some of these woman R&B singers on some of his projects.
Yeah.
And kind of gives them some spotlight.
It kind of had Thames-esque vibes.
Yeah.
Like it reminded me of Wait For You with him
Yeah.
and Future back in the day.
Yeah.
Brian Steele, that was like a Yachty type beat.
Yeah.
He was rapping on that one. I thought that was an okay track.
I was alright. There was a few bars on there referencing the beef. He was saying, bro said put the beef aside, I can't. I'm heated now. Bro want to meet up, talk about shit, I'm vegan now. Evil eyes were staring at me, I see it now. Who do we think bro is in terms of that, in terms of want to meet up and talk shit? Talk about shit, I'm vegan now. That's not, I don't think that's Kendrick. Is that maybe the mole?
Maybe Metro.
Maybe the OVO mole?
I don't know who would be trying to patch things up with
Yeah, maybe Metro or Future.
Drizzy. I don't see Future wanting to patch things up, but maybe Metro. I don't know.
I think Metro is more of a Drake hater than Future.
Yeah,
Because they have undisclosed beef from a while back, whereas Future, that kind of came as a surprise, his allegiancy.
maybe it's some athlete or some fucking
Maybe it's no one at all.
influencer.
Yeah. And then he also says on that track, beefing with boys that we don't ever see. I'm out every night and they're not in the streets. Is that referencing Kendrick not being really as thug as he claims to be? In the streets as much as he claims
Yeah.
to be?
Or maybe just like at parties at the clubs and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Well, that's what Drake was referring to as I'm out every night. But I appreciate that, like, Drake a year or two ago might have been like, I'm out in the streets and I don't see him in terms of like, Drake is out in the streets, he sees this shit, he's around guns, all that stuff. But he's saying I'm out every night, more so partying kind of stuff. I'm like, that I buy.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that he kind of is going more leaning into the party aspect, which he mentions in the next song as well.
Give Me a Hug. That was like a Chance the Rapper type beat he was rapping on.
Yeah, a little bit. I'd like to see that collab album, Chance the Rapper and Drake, two people that need a boost.
I've been fiending for this new Chance the Rapper album
Because he's dropped many good singles in the past few years.
he's been back.
It's turning into a Rocky situation though, where he's like, okay, you have good songs you've released, just please drop something. And it's the more you wait, the worse it's gonna get. I think.
Free Rocky. my
Starts
man.
off, give me a hug, Drake elimination, fake intimidation. They want to see RIP me on a T-shirt like Hulk Hogan. We shouldn't be talking about Hulk Hogan in general.
Did he die?
Yeah, you didn't hear? No, I don't know.
Oh.
He's racist. He says the N-word a lot.
Oh right.
And again with this obituary shit, yeah, only bitch boys that are waiting on the boys' obituary, because if I die, it's these dudes that become the sole beneficiaries, and what the fuck they gonna do with it? And and really the thesis of
basically-
this whole thing, fuck a rap beef, I'm trying to get the party lit. And if that's what he's trying to do, good for him, do it. But I don't go to parties anymore, so there's no party next door in
I'm
my
out
life.
hunting pedos.
Yeah. Pedo hunting parties only.
Raining in Houston, I thought wasn't a terrible song.
At this point, it just gets, I lose interest and it just sounds the same to me. Meet Your Padre is a
That's a real stinker.
he's
that
doing the accents, guys. And I will say I'm glad that this song did remind me of the whole bit in Atlanta where it was like, Van was at Drake's house for the party and Drake wasn't even there. And then she walks into a room and then Drake's dad is there speaking, Spanish and shit. And they're walking home later and she was like, Drake's Mexican? What? So I thought that was pretty funny.
And the episode just ends like that, I think.
Yeah. Oh, man, I fucking miss Atlanta. I would love to see Atlanta with all the shit that's happened in the past few years. All the references they want to make. But yeah, that one's a stinker.
Let me just read some lyrics off here. We got...
I was going to speak Spanglish out here.
I want to meet your padre. Pay my respects to your madre. Mi amor. Text your friends que pasa. Vamos, bring them to mi casa. Por favor.
Sounds like Zorro up in here.
Yeah, and then he's basically doing patois. He's doing Mexican voice. I'll come pick you up in Testarossa. Your body like Coca-Cola.
I hate the way that you talk. I hate the way that you pod. I hate the way that you...
Take you to Kiki or the booby trapper.
I don't go to the booby trapper. Where's that at?
Pay your rent and pay your taxes.
Is that in Rexdale or...
Honestly, that's the one thing that's not really consistent with Canada. We don't have nearly as much of a Latin influence in the culture
That's true.
as in the States.
Yeah, for sure.
One thing that my American coworker says a lot is that's kind of missing from, and there's a different cultural background.
We have some good, at least in my opinion, some good Mexican food, but I suppose I haven't had like straight up real authentic stuff. So
yeah, but he spends most of his time in the tropics as well. So
that's true. What can you do?
He's not really in Canada. He's not like, I mean, but why would
he has
you
a house? But
look around? Like, why the fuck would you want to be here if you could afford to live anywhere else in the world?
I will say the next two songs, Nokia and Die Trying, these are my favorites on the tape.
Okay.
Just because Nokia, they're a bit out there, but that's kind of why I fuck with them. Nokia is like a weird early 2000s pop rap kind of throwback ringtone era shit that I think on it, like, it doesn't necessarily suit Drake, but like I like that he tried something different there.
Yeah, me too.
It has varying degrees of success throughout the song, but like it is kind of fun.
That was his squabble up.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun one. I don't think you should compare the two, but
well, it was clearly a throwback party jam.
Yeah, I suppose.
It was some catchy parts. Baby girl. Let me see you do your dance. Let me see you twirl.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
And I like the line of like Gretzky, I ice you like Gretzky. You know, a bit of a
but Gretzky's no good though, because Gretzky has left Canada. He doesn't claim Canada, and he's a straight up mega mother effer. So,
damn,
Mans was at the inauguration.
I'm actually proud that we don't have many hockey player politicians in Canada. Really, you know.
I think Bob Kelly tried to run for something at some point. I don't know. Some of these old.
Was that a hockey player?
Yeah, I was because I made teams on the shell of a Republican and or liberal and conservative teams. I tried to do it based on leanings, and there was a few players that had run for like some liberal thing, like in their towns or whatever. Something like that.
There's probably a lot of conservatives.
It's tough. The conservative team is goated. It's stacked. It's great.
Yeah, the NHL, make the NHL.
Well, because in NHL they're doing a lot. They're booing the anthems and stuff. Like it's getting pretty political.
I support that. I support booing all
Get
anthems.
out of the anthems. I don't want the anthems in the sport. And
let's just sing the Chinese national anthem.
Oh boy,
I would support that.
Yes, you would. Yes, you would.
President Xi.
What do we say about your arms, Alex? Keep them down.
President Xi. I will activate the commie plan.
His name's President Xi. That's pretty sick.
Xi Jinping.
I died trying. If you have listened to this podcast before, I can be a sucker towards some summery sounding, acoustic driven songs. And hearing Drake on this kind of SZA, Bando Stone almost kind of production that we were referencing beforehand, I think it suits him pretty well. I think this is the catchiest song on here as well, in terms of some of the refrains.
I was expecting you to hate on this song, and I was thinking in my mind, like, man, if fucking Childish Gambino sang on this beat, you would be glazing him so hard.
Yeah.
So just accept that this is a good song.
No,
right?
I like that.
I'm glad that you
direction for Drake, because it is like his. If he's gonna be out in the tropics and shit like that, make like a Kawhi type of EP on some summery ass shit, and I'm gonna fuck with it.
Yeah,
you know? That's kind of it's playing into his strong suits there. Like I like the poppier kind of Drake. Maybe not the R&B kind of Drake much anymore.
Yeah.
But
that being said, that's kind of where the album falls off, and the rest of it is mostly unmemorable.
Yeah,
almost AI generated, kind of. Just we've heard a million times these kinds of sad relationship jams.
Yeah, it's a lot of, lovesick, heartbreak tracks. It's just, yeah. So we're a bit differing opinions there. I do want to get into a little bit, just, I want to know how you feel about the Freddie Gibbs parallels on the album. There was a Triple S, obviously, because Freddie had the album from a few years ago. And then also on the track list cover that Drake and P&D posted for this album, there were 3 cartoon rabbits on it. And that's Freddie Gibbs' whole thing, is the cartoon rabbits. So it's like, that is clearly, that's like no question to me, he's pulling from Freddie.
Huh. That's weird. I've never seen this theory, and I don't think that there's any real connection between Drake and Freddie Gibbs ever.
There was some guy on X, some hip hop executive or something. I don't know what he does, but he had the only picture of Freddie Gibbs and Drake, and it was around this time of the Triple S album dropping, and there were talks of Drake getting on that album. So that there is a direct link to that, and Freddie mentioned something about this kind of thing on X as well. So I think like the Triple S thing, that's not a unique thing. That's fine, but that and the cartoon rabbits is like, that's distinguishably a Freddie Gibbs thing, you know?
I mean, think about it. The owls eat rabbits.
Oh man.
Okay. So it all goes back to this Illuminati.
I'm starting to think you're the OVO mole at this point. You're on the OVO side.
I fucking turn into an owl and fly away.
Yeah.
Edit that real quick.
Oh, good stuff.
Just, here, I'll just throw a green suit on real quick.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. I will say, or do you have anything to say about the Freddie Gibbs shit? Or
I mean, I've never heard of that. And
Right.
Has Freddie been reached out for a comment on this at all?
yeah,
or?
he said something. I think he just said like LOL,
okay.
SSS for you, kind of thing. I don't know, something like that. I don't think he takes it personally, as well as there was this other discourse by this Mississauga rapper John River, who is I remember I don't remember what the song's name was, but I quite liked it back in the day. I, for whatever reason, related to it dropped around the same time that Alessia Cara's Here came out. So like that's like
Big moment for Canadian
2015 or
music.
whatever. And I remember seeing that video on like Much Music or whatever, the John River song, and I'm like, this is cool. I really like this. And I listened to a few more of his songs. I kind of fell out of touch. But he's a local guy, and he in that music video, he was in front of those Monroe Towers in Mississauga, and he made a statement, because the album cover is they're in front of the towers as well. He made a statement being like, around the time of that music video dropping, I had sat down with Party Next Door and some OVO people, and Party Next Door was like, I watched that video 20 times kind of thing, and they were talking, kind of praising him a little bit, but then at the end of the conversation, P&D was like, you make sure that you kind of work through us. You don't want to get blackballed in the industry, kind of thing. Almost like a vague threat by P&D to like kind of, I don't know, work with them or through them or something, or run shit by them or whatever. And then it had kind of been crickets for a few years there between them. And then he got reached out again by some people 6 weeks ago, and he wasn't quite sure why. And he was like, now I know why. Because the cover is kind of almost an homage or a rip, however you want to put it, towards the imagery in his music video. I think it's not, you can't claim the towers. Like, it's an iconic thing in Mississauga. We went to school there. And so it's not, that's a bit of a reach. And John Rivers does say, like, he didn't necessarily say it's a bad or good thing. He was just said, like, I'm not mad, it's whatever kind of thing. But it's still an interesting, like, maybe another point of culture vulturing here and there from these guys.
Yeah. John River.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of remember that name, but I don't know if I ever heard his
Let me pull up the
his
video
music.
quick.
But it throws me back to like 10 years ago or something. I feel like I gave his music a shot at one point.
Hope City 2. It's the thumbnail there is just.
Oh,
My bad.
But yeah, I saw it at the beginning.
Yeah, just the towers there.
yeah. Honestly, it's a good look for those towers. Pretty iconic.
I like the cover. Yeah, it's cool.
Very sexual, obviously. The red on the top.
Yeah, they're almost ribbed in a sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ribbed for your pleasure. I guess they're called that because they're like curvy, it must be weird living in that building. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I live by the ass of this curved.
Yeah.
sexy building.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot. He honestly gave. I know I already banged this drum, but he did give the Canadians some references. I mean, he mentioned the DVP on one song,
Yep.
the 401.
Yeah.
These are some pretty major highways.
Yeah. Has he mentioned the QE dub before?
No.
He has to mention the Q. If he mentions the Oakville Ford plant, I'm gonna reconsider my stance on some of his stuff.
Dude, if he mentioned Centennial Parkway,
Just yeah, start making some Hamilton references for us to really start vibing here.
dude,
Gage Park, come on now.
here's a funny Hamilton reference. We had it for my job the other day. We had to pick up this fence that was being used for the John Wayne Gacy movie that's being shot in Hamilton.
Oh, they shooting in Hamilton. Oh, that's sick. I had no idea.
They made this house up on the mountain look like his childhood home.
Wow,
So they redid like the front and everything.
that's sick.
And they had like fake snow down, but then there's all this real snow like piled on top of it. And we started talking to the guy there, and he was, oh yeah, John Wayne Gacy. He killed and raped 27 people and
Yeah,
buried them in his house. And then he
Yeah.
started burying people in the river and all this shit. But he was like this old burnout hippie guy with like
Yeah.
long gray hair, and like we're like, all right, you
Yeah.
sure do know a lot about serial killers. get this truck, like
yeah.
like we kind of wanted to get out of there after
Yeah.
a while, but
That's
cool.
crazy.
It's cool to know there, because Hamilton looks there like so many different places. So many different spots can be made to look like different places in
Yeah.
the world. So
Yeah, the film scene is starting to kind of pop up a little more out there, so that's cool to see.
and tax breaks
with
from
that.
the Canadian government.
Sure.
Thank you, Justin Trudeau.
All right, that's enough Canadian glazing for now, I think.
Oh, Canada, our hermit.
With a Canadian accent?
And they do it with the French part of the.
Oh, yeah.
That's all like nobody knows how it goes.
Oh, fuck yeah. How did it go? We used to have to sing that on like Fridays every year.
Anywho,
Good stuff.
any other quick music things we want to get out of the way before we do our game?
Oh, yeah. Life
2
is,
Chainz.
Life is Beautiful.
Larry June.
Alchemist. Who knew such a pairing could produce such
Such a great
flames.
pairing.
such great vibes?
Comeback for 2 Chainz.
For sure.
He's
And
one
2
of
Chainz can rap, obviously. We've known this. But on this kind of style of production, it's been a while.
yeah.
And it really suits him. And I think he said something about like Drugs Don't Sell Themselves album or whatever that.
Yeah,
was called.
Dope Don't Sell
Dope Don't Sell
Itself.
Itself. He said that was his last like trap album.
Right.
Before he kind of goes into more of this style. So this is the start of like this new era of 2 Chainz. I'm here for it, man. It's great. They have great chemistry. I like how 2 Chainz is mainly diving into Larry June's Alchemist world, but there's a few times where there's like 2 or 3 songs on here that have kind of more of a sinister, darker, kind of like a Riverdale Road almost type of production from Alchemist, which obviously Alchemist can be really good at. So kind of hearing Larry June kind of step into more of a 2 Chainz world in that sense is pretty cool too.
Yeah, I mean he's one of our best punchline type rappers. He kind of invented the style in a way.
Popularized for sure, along with Wayne.
Yeah, like during that early 2010s
Yeah.
era where he was already sort of a veteran of the game,
Yeah, he'd been around for a
but
while.
going by the name Titty Boy for the first little while.
This goes to show it doesn't matter what your rap name is.
You can always
can get popping off a Titty Boy, and then you can change it, and then be one of the most successful rappers ever. So
Yeah, I was actually watching this whole video on Central C, the Trap Lore Ross guy.
oh
does
man,
3-hour
I wanted
videos.
to watch. There was the one being like, is King Von rap's first serial killer or something like that?
Yeah, 6-hour documentary.
Yeah,
or something.
I have it on my watch list, but there's no way I'm gonna
But
have the time. To
I
watch
thought since
this
he was talking about British rappers, I could watch it at least. He's not culture vulturing
Right.
on that level. And it was about like Central C had so much shitty music out before and then he wiped it all away and kept starting over and finally
him.
popped off. And now he's the
shit.
biggest UK rapper of all time, like as far as crossing over into America. And
more so than like Stormzy and Skepta and shit.
they never broke as much in the US. Like their top,
Yeah, I suppose
top charting song was like "Praise the Lord," like
with Rocky.
was
Yeah.
by Skepta and Rocky
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
while. But yeah, it was an interesting video.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes people go back to that early 2010s era and say, "Oh, remember punchlines? I'm the shit, diarrhea, that kind of
love it.
stuff."
I failed to mention, I think on the last Lost episode, there was another J. Cole poop bar on the deluxe. Oh, I can't remember for the life of me what it is now. But I just want to let you guys know. Poop Bar Watch 2025. We're still here. That was one of my crowned segments.
One of our
years
most
ago.
famous segments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, these are Alchemist beats, like, that he could make them on the toilet, like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. Some of them at the beginning were a bit slower. I really liked the title track, Life is Beautiful. Any Day was a good song. Epiphany, I really liked. It settled into a nice groove after a while.
Yeah, it's just a good listen.
And the last couple songs were slower, a bit more down tempo. Mm-hmm. But I think him and Larry shine lyrically. Mm-hmm. I wish I could think of any of his punchlines, but I haven't given it much of a critical review. I just
I spun it the one time.
heard it a couple times.
I liked it, and I need to go back to it. But
other things that came out, I know West Side Gun's album.
right, haven't spun that yet.
It's a lot of just, classic shit from West Side Gun. There was a bar he had about, like, in Givenchy and the ski slopes, like, shit like that.
Is he chat GPTing his bars at this point, we think? West Side?
He must be.
I don't know. Did you hear the Daniel Caesar Rex Orange County? They dropped 2 songs together.
No.
They're quite good. They have good chemistry. Both great vocalists. One's called Rearrange Your World or My World, and then the other one has like kind of 2 names. I forget what that one's called.
There's a field.
There's a field. Yeah.
In brackets, that's only yours.
Yeah. Go listen to those. Those are really good.
Okay. So
I
Rex
think
Orange County is back.
Yeah, and I think our boy Mustafa had a hand in writing some of those tracks as well. So I'm all for that.
Sick.
Yeah, I think Rex. Rex is probably back. I'm sure he'll drop something this year for all the indie heads out there.
Did you see Macklemore? Leftist rap.
He dropped something. I don't know what.
It's called
I don't know what it was.
Fucked Up.
What's fucked up, Alex?
Israel.
Tell it to us. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely going full tanky, full Twitter leftist.
Yeah.
Which I support.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
I support.
Let's do it.
He had the song Hins Hall, I think, which is dedicated to Palestinian.
That was good. That was a good one.
And he's keeping on going with this thing, and you know what? I support it.
Yeah.
And he didn't say anything wrong on the song either.
I don't know if there was much else that I listened. There is a new album coming out from Six, who's Logic's in-house producer. She's been locked up in Logic's
We've had enough
basement.
Logic.
No, but it's not Logic. This song is with Drom, Juicy J, and Guapdad 4000. They also managed to unearth Guapdad out of nowhere.
Wow.
And
I haven't heard Drom's name. Doesn't he go by a different name now?
I know, but this says Drom, so I'm going with it. If I can pull up the track list for the album, it's actually pretty stacked with some of these kind of weird, like, left field picks.
I'm looking borderline Nazi on this. Just my
Okay.
prim and proper haircut.
Other artists that are on here are Buddy, not Buddy Alex.
Me?
Kyle, Blue from Blue in Exile fame.
Yo. I spy with my little eye a girly I can hit because she doesn't do any likes.
Very good.
Kyle, bring back Kyle.
He's coming back, and it's from Six. You got Jazz Cartier, name I haven't heard in a fucking minute either. Cousin Stiz, I don't know where he's finding these rappers.
I haven't heard Jazz Cartier since I went to York University.
A few Kyle features on here. Joey Valance and Bray, who I've heard are really good.
I've been seeing some more stuff about them. They're kind of like these Beastie Boys.
Yeah, I've been meaning to listen to their record from last year. Haven't got into it yet, but
They had a Danny Brown feature on one of the songs, so that was pretty big cosign. Miles dropped the album.
did he?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I see he's kind of
trying now a bit.
Yeah, which
some
is
of the
cool.
songs.
I think in Ye's tweets was he mentioned Miles is my only favorite rapper now or something like that, and I'm sure he felt a way about that for sure.
We live in the stupidest timeline.
I know. And he wasn't Ye also saying something about like here are the only rappers that haven't crossed me. I think it was like Cardi, Rocky,
Eminem.
Eminem. He didn't even mention Ty Dolla $ign in there, so it's like
Yeah.
he's crossed somehow.
Technically, maybe not a rapper, but
Yeah, true. And then Ty Dolla $ign was reposting some of the stuff, and then he kind of came out and was like, "I don't condone hate speech in whatever form." And then it might seem like they're not cool right now. So, no Vultures 3. Oh my God, what are we gonna talk about? Yeah, I think that's everything, at least for now. It's been a bit of a slow start to the year, but hopefully with this Drake drop, it kind of opened stuff up to kind of get going here. So, from Old Lady Ice fame, Buddy Alex, why don't you close out the show for us? That was Rapcast 75. Check us out.
May not mean nothing to y'all.
Check us out everywhere.
Understand, Rapcast is nothing to be fucked with.
Nice.
I do this shit forever, man, ever, man,
sir.
ever, man.
Check us out Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Our Knuckles is down.
Last name
repeat.
Alex, first name Buddy.
It's the outro, not the intro. So cool the energy. We
Very cozy, sitting here
Yes.
in the blizzard.
from us Canadians to you, everyone around the
Snowscape.
world. We bid you adieu. Check out Next to Me, the song that's about to play right now. And
Everyone out there, stay warm.
catch us next time for a special hip hop game that we will be debuting on the channel and in your
Never
hearts.
get tongue-tied when I'm spitting bars out. I got love for my group, no doubt, but when I'm next to you, I'm feeling far out. Ooh.
Woke up still fucked up, I don't really like you, so please just go back up. Davey asking